I felt a sinking feeling as I realized, okay, it's not going to work out exactly the way that I thought. I was at a conference in Philadelphia and I'd never been there before to the conference or to Philadelphia. And I thought, okay, surely I'll go to this conference, make some new connections, and either get, like, let's say one friend or a group, and we'll go to dinner. And as the hours ticked on, it became abundantly clear as I put feelers out, hey, would you potentially want to join a group later? There wasn't a lot of interest to the point where the conference ended for the day. And it was clear that, okay, I'm having dinner by myself. So at first, I thought I'll go to some place that's really nearby within a quarter mile. But then I did a little more sleuthing and realized, you know what, I want to treat myself tonight. Let's let's go somewhere, you know, that actually gets me excited to go there. And I ended up stumbling upon this upscale vegan restaurant. And I thought, how cool. Yeah, that's a mile and a half walk. Let's go. And when I get there, there are actually a row of individual tables for meant for one person each. And it's in the very front near the bar. And I immediately, notice this and I say, oh, it's just me. And they say, oh, perfect. You can have one of these single seaters. So I'm seated in between, people. People are dining, not really talking. And I'm kind of still in the mode of meeting new people. And I instinctively look to my right and say hi. And I end up engaging with this elderly woman in conversation. And it turns out that she actually was traveling in from the town, my hometown. So who would have thought? That's in California, by the way, and we're in Philadelphia. So it was really serendipitous, to put it lightly, that we ended up there. And we were talking for over an hour. She was an artist and, had really interesting philosophies, and we got to share stories. And it was a really nice night. And then, totally surprised me, she ended up insisting on covering my meal. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then, she leaves. And then I look to my right and I instinctively say hi again. And then I end up, well, first of all, I should mention that the waiter comes over and says, oh, apologies, it took so long to get the bill. Uh, the woman already paid. Can I get you a free dessert? And I said, yes, please. And then, chose one that looks really good. And then in that energy, I say hello to the person to my right. And then we end up also hitting it off. And we end up going out after dinner and going out on the town. So who would have thought that this seeming social rejection of sorts, it's like a subtle social rejection, right? Because there wasn't a set plan, but there was an intention. However, the goal of social connection still got to happen, but it was in a way that I could not have planned for. And all of my expectations were exceeded when I think about that time in Philadelphia. So, yeah, I'm curious if you've ever had a moment in time where something seems like a rejection or a miss, and then it actually turned into something really cool that you couldn't have planned for.